Hello students, do lines and angles look confusing or triangles look scary? Don't worry, today we will crack them easily with tricks, real life examples and word problems. Before we begin, click on the subscribe now so you never miss any easy math hack, and to join our live classes do check out the link in the description. So let's begin our day number 19 challenge, which is geometry. So what is geometry? It is nothing but the study of shapes, sizes, angles, and their position. Right? Simple. So, where it is used in our real life? It is actually used everywhere, just like our algebra, especially from designing buildings and logos to sports fields and even video game graphics. So, it is a must know topic for everyone. Right? So let's begin with the basic terms involved in geometry. So the very first thing is a plane. What is meant by a plane? Plane is nothing but a surface which extends indefinitely on all directions. Okay, it's just a surface. Line. Line is nothing but a set of points like this. Set of infinite points, okay, which has no ends at all. If you continuously draw the points, you get a straight line. Say for example, in this line, AB are the 2 points, but what line is? It is nothing but a set of indefinitely many points that are joined together to form you a line. It extends on both the directions infinitely, right? The next one is your line segment. As the word suggests, segment, a part of it. Okay, a part of a line is nothing but your line segment, and it has 2 points. Since it is a segment, it has 2 points, like in this case A and B are the 2 end points, and it is of finite length only because we are cutting them, so it has only a particular length for it. The next one is the ray, which starts at one particular point, say for example A, and it extends indefinitely on the other side. How do you remember this? Think of sun rays. The sun rays starts from the sun and it goes on forever, right, throughout the space. The same way, ray is the one which starts at one point and goes on forever on the other side, right? Simple. Now, coming to the next one, coplanar lines. We already know that planes means it's a surface. Co means think of like a friend or a company. Coplanar lines means 2 or more lines lying on the same plane. This is nothing but coplanar lines. The name itself suggests its definition, right? Next is the intersecting. When 2 lines meet at a point, then it is said to be intersecting. Intersecting means meeting at a point, joining at a point. Then perpendicular. Intersecting at right angle like this. So you get a 90-degree between the 2 lines. That is intersecting at 90 degree is nothing but your perpendicular line, right? The next one is angle. When 2 rays, we already know what is a ray. When 2 rays meet at a point like this, then they form an angle. 2 rays which meet are said to form an angle at their meeting point. Say for example, in this OQ is one ray, OP is another ray. Both are meeting at the point O, and the angle is formed between the 2 rays, which is x degrees. Here the point O is called the vertex. The point at which the 2 rays join, where the angle is formed, is the vertex. And the 2 rays are usually called the sides or the arms. And we usually measure the angle with a unit called degree, a common unit for the measurement of angles. Like for example, length we measure it with centimeter or meter. Likewise, the angle we measure it with a unit degrees. Clear? So to put it in a simple way, this is your vertex. These are your 2 arms, OQ and OP. The angle formed by 2 opposite rays. One ray is going on this side and another ray going on this side. Exactly opposite. Then you get a 180 degree here. The angle between the 2 rays would be 180 degree, which is called as a straight angle. Why? Because it looks like a straight line. Simple. Clear? Now, the next type of angle is your complementary angles, which is when two angles are adjacent and they add up to 90 degree, you get the complementary angle. Say, for example, this angle and this angle. Say, for example, this is angle number 1 and this is angle number 2. Here, if you add these two angles, as you can see, it is going above 90 degrees. These two are adjacent, right? Now, if two angles which are adjacent join together to form a 90 degree like this. This is angle number 1, this is angle number 2. When you add angle 1 and angle 2, then if you get 90 degree, then that is called as complementary angle. Angle 1 and 2 are complement to each other. And if two angles add up to 180 degree, which is nothing but your straight angle, then it is called as supplementary angle. Angle 1 plus 2. These two angles are called as supplementary angles. To summarize, if two angles add up to 90 degree, you got complementary angle. And if two angles added up to 180 degree, you got supplementary angle. Clear? Then the next one is our adjacent angles. As I told you already, adjacent means as per the name only, like adjacent means which is next to it, right? In the same way, the two angles which are lying next to each other and sharing a common ray between them like this is an adjacent angle. Two angles having a meeting point and a common ray between them. As you can see, suppose this is ray number 1, ray number 2, both have the common arm which is OQ. Then the other two sides lie on the opposite side. That is very, very important. Most of the kids make mistake here. Say, for example, if angle 1 is this and angle 2 is this, say this is angle 1 and this is angle 2. Are they adjacent? No, because angle 1 is contained within angle 2. This is not adjacent. Okay. The two angles should be opposite to the common arm. Say, for example, here the angle lies on the right hand side of the common arm, whereas the other angle lies on the left hand side of the common arm. So, such angles are called as adjacent angles. Linear pair, if two adjacent angles, adjacent we already know the condition. They should be having a common meeting point and a common ray between them. The two angles should be on the opposite side of the common ray. If that is satisfied, and the next condition, first condition is adjacent. Next condition is if they add up to 180 degree, which is nothing but supplementary. Then we call the two angles as linear pair. Okay, a pair of angles is adjacent and the non-common rays are opposite to each other. And if they add up to 180 degree, then it is called as linear pair. Linear pair means simple. It should be adjacent and it should be supplementary. What does it mean by adjacent? They should be having a common arm sharing between them, common meeting point, and the two angles should be on the opposite side. That is adjacent. Supplementary means 180 degree. They add up to 180 degree. If two angles are adjacent as well as supplementary, we call them as linear pair. Clear? Now, coming to the vertically opposite angles, very important but very easy. When two lines intersect at a point, then you will get four angles, right? 1, 2, 3, and this is 4. What is this vertically opposite? As the name suggests, they are just opposite to each other. Okay? Say, for example, in this, the opposite angles are 1 and 3, 2 and 4. And always remember, these vertically opposite angles that you get when two lines intersect, they will be equal. So 1 will be equal to 3 and 2 will be equal to 4. If 1 is, say, for example, 70 degree, 3 will also be 70 degree. If 2 is 80 degree, then 4 will also be 80 degree. I hope you are clear. Right? And the next thing is the concurrent lines. What is meant by that? If two or more lines in the same plane passing through the same point like this. all are passing through the same point, then this is called as concurrent lines. All these lines are called as concurrent lines. Yeah. Well, next we will go to the problem based on this angles. In the figure below, not to scale, ABC is a straight line. Which is ABC here? A, B, C. This is a straight line, and FBE is 60 degree as shown in the figure, and CBG is CBG. This side, actually it's 180 degree. We can't take it as a reflex angle because the measure is only 120 degree. So this side CBG is 120 degree, and ABG is X, and ABF is Y, and CBE is Z, which is equal to 2 times your Y. Then you have to find the ratio between the two angles as specified. So now first of all we have to find what is this Y. It is easy to find because Y plus 60 degree, because this forms a straight line. We are given with the hint that ABC is a straight line. Straight line means 180 degree. So Y plus 60 degree plus 2Y, which is your Z, will be equal to 180 degree, which is nothing but, add the like terms, 3Y equals to 180 minus 60, which is nothing but 120. Now 3Y is 120, so Y should be equal to 40 degree. We got our Y. Then Z would be, Z we are given with the information, it's 2Y. So Z should be equals to 80 degree. So Z is also found. Now coming to the X angle. What is X? So if this is 40 degree, Y is 40 degree, this side is 60 degree. As you know again, GBE is also a straight line. Or otherwise you can take ABC is a straight line. This side is 120 degree. So obviously X should be 60 degree because linear pair. For every geometry questions, it is mandatory to specify how you conclude an angle. Say for example, in this case, I said X is 60 degree by applying the property of linear pair. If this is 120, then the other angle should be 60 in order for it to satisfy the straight line as well as the linear pair. So you have to mention the reason behind it. So now X equals to 60 degree, right? So we got our X, we got our Y, we got our Z. Then substitute everything in the question. We want X plus Z. X is 60, Z is 80. So 80 plus 60 is 140 degree, is to Y is 60 degree. Sorry, 40 degree. So here you can leave it as such, but since it is in ratio, we have to produce in the simplest form. So what is the simplest form? It again comes in our 20 table, right? So 7 times this is 2 times. So 7 is to 2 is the right answer. I hope you are clear. This lines and angles is more of like puzzle, solving like a puzzle. Find one and then go and find the other one. And in between these, you will be applying the algebra concept to solve it easily. I hope you are clear with the first question, right? Now coming to the next one, which is parallel lines. Very, very important. Two coplanar lines, which means they lie on the same plane. Two parallel lines, if they do not meet at any point, even when you extend, is called as parallel lines. Parallel lines are just the opposite of your perpendicular lines, here which intersect at 90 degree. Here they will not intersect at all. And what is the transversal? Transversal is a straight line. Say for example, this is parallel line number 1, line number 2, which form the parallel line. Transversal is the line which is intersecting a pair of parallel lines, which means two parallel lines at two different points. So this T is a transversal. And the next term that you need to know here is the intersect. So we already know two lines that never meet is nothing but parallel line. And if a line cuts both the parallel lines at two different points, then we call it as transversal. And the transversal cuts at a particular point, right? That point we call it as intercepts. Here P and Q are the intercepts. So one thing you have to note here is a pair of parallel lines makes equal intercepts, same intercept on all transversal, each of which is perpendicular to them. If it is transversal is a perpendicular to the parallel line, then each intercept will be the same. Okay, you will understand this better when we solve the problem. Okay, now let's consider this question. In the above figure, AB is parallel to CD and P and R are the points on AB and CD respectively. Q is in between A and B, AB and CD. Find the value of X in degrees. As you can see here, these two are parallel lines and our X is lying between these two lines. So what we are trying to do as a first step, we have to draw an imaginary line which is parallel to a line L, which is parallel to AB. If it is parallel to AB, then it is obviously parallel to CD. So now we can apply the angle constant. So whenever two parallel lines are cut by the transversal, you get three different types of angles. The first one is your alternate interior angles, which are equal. Alternate interior always forms a Z shape, either the Z or the inverted Z, and they are always equal, which means this angle, as you can see, this is forming a Z shape. So this angle will be same. If this is 30, then this will also be 30, right? As per the linear pair concept, this angle is 80 degree, right? 100 plus 80 gives you 180 degree, which means linear pair a straight angle. If this is 80, then obviously this side will also be 80 because of alternate interior angles are equal. Now, if you sum it up both, 80 degree plus 30 degree, you get 2x plus 10 as per the figure. Now, transpose it to the other side, you get 2x equals to 110 minus 10, because 10 goes to the other side as per transposing. So which is nothing but 100. So 2x equals to 100. So x will be equal to 50 degree. It's as simple as that. And one thing you have to remember when it comes to parallel lines is the three types of angles. First, as I already told you, alternate interior angle, which are equal. The next one is the corresponding angles, which are again equal. Say for example, if two lines are cut by the transversal, the corresponding angle, this and this, which lies on the same side of the transversal and on the same side of our parallel line, they are equal. And you get four corresponding angles. So 1 and this side will be same. 2, this side and this side, bottom side 3, and the right hand side of the bottom side 4. So you get 4 corresponding angles, which are all same. The corresponding angles are same. And the next one is your co-interior angles, which means these two angles, the two angles that lies inside our parallel lines. Co-interior, inside the parallel line. So interior. Co means, as I already told you, it's like a friend which always lies together. So here these two angles are adjacent. So these are co-interior angles and they add up to 180 degree. So to quickly summarize, what are the different type of angles that you have to pay attention here is, first is vertically opposite angles. The next is linear pair. Vertically opposite angles are equal when two lines intersect. Then linear pair, which is nothing but two angles that are adjacent and supplementary, forms 180 degree. The third is when two parallel lines cut by the transversal, then you get three different types of angles. First is the alternate interior angle, which are equal. Second is corresponding angle, which are again equal. Third is the co-interior angle, which add up to 180 degree. I hope you're clear with the lines and angles. share this lesson with someone who really struggles in lines and angles. Okay. Now let's go to the triangles. So what is a triangle? Triangle is nothing but a closed shape which has three sides like this. So it forms three angles inside it. Right? Let's discuss in detail about the triangle. So what are the different types of triangles? Based on their sides alone, we have three different types. First one is the scalene, where all the sides are different like this. This is a scalene triangle. The next one is the isosceles. Isosceles means two sides are equal. So this side and this side, two sides are equal. That is isosceles. Equilateral triangle, all the three sides are equal. That is equilateral triangle. Okay. Based on their sides, you can classify triangle into three types: scalene, equilateral, and isosceles. Right? Now, based on their angles, the three angles that are formed inside, there are four different types. Acute angle triangle, which means all the angles are acute angles. Say for example, in our equilateral triangle, all the angles are 60 degree. Since all the angles are less than 90 degree, it is a acute angled triangle. The next one is a right angled triangle, which means one of the angle will be 90 degree. This is right angled triangle. Very important concept because right angled triangle itself is a big topic. The next one is the obtuse angle triangle. Say for example, one of the angles will be an obtuse angle like this. This is obtuse angled triangle. The next one is the isosceles right angled triangle, meaning it is an isosceles, so two sides are equal and also the angle is 90 degrees. Such triangles are called isosceles right angled triangle. I hope you are clear with the types of triangles based on their angle. Right? Now, let's go to the different things that you have to note here. Here, scalene triangle, if you take, it can be an acute triangle or a right angle or an obtuse, because we already said the sides can take any value. So it can be any of these. Isosceles can be acute, right, or obtuse again. But if you take equilateral, it has to be acute. As I told you already, all the angles will be equal to 60, 60, 60. It should be an acute angle triangle only. Okay. It cannot contain a right angle or an obtuse angle in it. Because we are clear with the definition itself, three sides will be equal. If three sides are equal, the angle will be obviously 60 degrees. The angles also equal, sides also equal. So it should be an acute triangle only. Okay. Now let's see what are the theorems involved with triangle. The first one, very, very important one. Sum of the three angles of a triangle is equal to 180 degree. What is the meaning of that? If this angle is x, this angle is y, and this angle is z, then x plus y plus z equals to 180 degree always for a triangle, no matter what. This is always true. That is how we got equilateral triangle. Like all the angles, if you add up, you get 60 degree. Sorry, all the angles which is 60 degree add up to 180 degree. So that is how we got 60 degree angle for our equilateral triangle. Right? So using this, you may solve many problems based on triangle. So it is the basic theorem that you should know in coming to triangle. Right? Next one is the exterior angle sum property. The before one where three angles are added, the interior three angles add up to 180 degree is the interior angle sum, because inside the angles are inside and we are adding up all the angles. So interior angle sum property. Next one is the exterior angle sum property. What is that? When you take a triangle and if you extend one side of a triangle, the exterior angle that is being formed, this one, x, say for example, it is x. This angle is equal to sum of the interior opposite angles. So interior, if you come here, the interior would for x is this side. and opposite angles, this two, 1 and 2. So x will be equal to angle 1 plus angle 2. The exterior angle will be equal to sum of the two interior opposite angles. Wherever you get linear pair, wherever you don't get linear pair, you can use this exterior angle sum property of a triangle to find any angle. Okay, these are the two important theorems that you should know when coming to triangles. Clear? Okay, so next let's go to the properties of triangles. There are certain properties which are, say for example, if you have a triangle like this. Say for example, this is A, B and this is C. The sum of any two sides of a triangle will be always equal to the third side. Say for example, if you take this as 1, 2, 3, side 1 plus side 2 should always be equal to the always greater than the side 3. The sum of any two sides of a triangle is always greater than the third side. And the reverse, the difference between the two sides. Say for example, 1 minus 2. You can pick any two sides. There is no compulsion that you have to choose this side and this side only. You can choose any two sides. If the difference between the two sides of a triangle should always be less than your third side. This is a general rule. This is how you can make a triangle itself. There is no way, say for example, this is 1 meter. See, in this case itself, suppose if you are taking the one side as 1 centimeter, other side is 2 centimeter, then your third side should obviously be more than 3, not even 3. You will not be able to construct triangle with the measurements 1 centimeter, 2 centimeter and 3 centimeter itself. It should be either 4, 5 or more than 5. Sum of the two sides should be greater than the third side, not even equal to. Okay, so this is a property for every triangle. Without satisfying this, you cannot make a triangle at all. So you have to satisfy this. And the next one, angles opposite to equal sides are equal and vice versa. What do they mean by that? Say for example, if you take two sides, equal sides, which means it is nothing but the isosceles triangle, right? Two sides are equal. If you have two sides equal, the angle opposite to the two sides. For this side, the opposite angle is this. For this side, opposite angle is B angle. So the two angles will be always same. Which is, if two sides are equal, then the base angle will always be equal. Say for example, if this is 5 centimeter and if this is also 5 centimeter, and if this angle is, say for example, 60 degree. Then obviously B angle will also be 60 degree. Or if this is 70 degree, then the B angle will also be 70 degree. If two sides are equal, then the base angles are also equal. Here, next, if the angles are in increasing order or the decreasing order, then the corresponding sides, then the sides opposite to them also will be in the same order. What do they mean by that? Say for example, if you have a triangle, if the angles, if this is 10 degree, say for, wait, let me draw it a little bit bigger. If this is 10 degree, if this is 20 degree, this is 30 degree. The angles are increasing in increasing order from this side, right? Then the sides opposite to them. So opposite to this, say for example, this is 10 centimeter, this is 20 centimeter, then this side 30 centimeter. So the sides opposite to them will also follow the same order, say nothing but increasing order in this case. Okay, so these are the general properties, whether they mention in the question or no, they have to satisfy all this. One is the sides property. Sum of the two sides should always be greater than the third side. Difference between the two sides should always be less than the third side. Then the angles, if two sides are equal, then the base angles will be same. Or if two base angles are same, then obviously the two sides should be equal. And the last one, if the angles are in the increasing order, then the corresponding opposite sides will also be in the same order. Clear? So let's quickly summarize everything with the steps. First, if the lines are parallel, use alternate angle or corresponding angle or co-interior angle concept. When coming to triangle, sum of the angles is equal to 180 degree is the interior angle sum property. Exterior angle sum property is nothing but the exterior angle will be equal to sum of the two interior opposite angles. Vertically opposite angles are always equal. Okay, 5 angles you have to be thorough. Vertically opposite, linear pair, alternate, corresponding co-interior. When coming to triangles, the properties of the triangle, then the two theorems, interior angle sum property, exterior angle sum property. And always remember, whenever you are given with a problem, draw the diagram, mark it clearly, apply the rules, whichever applicable there, and solve it step by step. It becomes completely easy. Okay. So now let's go to the problem. So the ratio of three angles, the ratio of the angles A, C, B. So they have given A, C, B. So go in the same order. So say for example, if this is the one, A, C, okay, A, B, C. Let's take in this way only. The angle ratios of the angle ACB of the triangle 1:1:1. As you can see, the two sides are equal, which means AC as well as ACB. So in order not to confuse you, I'll go in the same order as per the question. Ratio of the angles they are given. So ACB, which means 1:1:2. So sum of the three angles of a triangle is equal to 180 degree. So x, so let's take the angles as x. X plus 2x. Because the ratio is 1:1:2 equals to 180 degree. So 4x equals to 180 degree. So x will be equals to 45. Right? So this is our x. So the angles would be 45 degree. 45 degree, and this side is the 90 degree, which means now let's reconstruct it again. The triangle is something like this: A, B, C. This is 90 degree. Now they are asking what is the length of the longest side. The length of the longest side is nothing but the length of the AC. AC is the longest side because these two are equal, because these two are 45 degree. We already know that if two angles are equal, then the opposite sides will also be equal. So the opposite side for this angle is AB, and the opposite side for angle A is BC. Clear? Now let's apply the Pythagoras theorem. So what it says? The equal sides are 10 centimeters. So they have already given these two are 10 centimeters. So AC square equals to 10 square plus 10 square, which is nothing but 200. So we want AC only. So taking square root on both the sides, square root of 200, which is nothing but 2 into 100. Taking the square root out, you get 10 root 2. So which is AC is nothing but 10 root 2 centimeter. So the length of the longest side is 10 root 2. I hope you are clear with this question. Now let us go to the next question, which is if AB, again draw a triangle A, B, C. AB is 10 centimeter, BC is 10 centimeter. Find the range of values that CA can take. They are asking you what are the different values it can take. So this is based on the properties of triangle. We already know that sum of the two sides should be greater than the third side. So here sum of the two sides is AB plus BC is 20. So this should be greater than your CA, right? And the difference, okay, sorry, this is 8. So it should be not 820, it's 80. So 18 should be greater than your CA, which means CA, the length of CA should be less than 18. Now the difference between the two, 10 minus 8 is nothing but 2. This third side, CA, should be more than your 2 centimeter. Because we know that the difference between the two sides should be less than your third side. So now writing it in a one single continued way equation, we get 2 less than CA, which is less than 18. So literally your third side CA can take the values between 2 to 18. Okay, it should not be 2 and it should not be 18. Between 2 and 18, CA can take any value. So the range of values that CA can take is more than 2 and less than 18 centimeter. Okay, you can specify the unit also. Clear? This is a question based on the properties. So the next question is, in a triangle ABC, so ABC, AC is equal to BC. Okay, which means these two angles are equal, and BAC is this angle, is 70 degree. So find BCA, you have to find this side. So as you all know, if two sides are equal, then their corresponding base angles will be equal according to the property. So now x, let's assume this as x plus 70 plus angle BCA equals to 180 degree, which is nothing but angle sum property. Now we know that this x is also 70 degree because the base angles are equal when two sides are equal. So this is equal to BCA equals to 180 degree. So now we want angle BCA, which is equal to 180 degree minus 70 plus 70 is 140. So BCA is 40 degree. Okay, I hope you get this answer. The property that you have to use is when two sides are same, then the corresponding base angles will be same. Okay. Challenge number 19. Problem 1, in the figure below, it's not drawn to scale. CD, RS are the two lines. In this angle EMG is 90 degree, which is marked. GMD angle is Y and the CME angle is X degrees, and Y degree is equal to X degree by 2. Then angle FNS is to angle FNR is what? Okay. So this is your first question. Solve it. And the next one is your, in a triangle, angle P is given, angle Q is given. Find angle R, which is very easy, right? The third problem is angle A and C are equal and both are equal to 50 degree. Find the longest side of ABC, which means you have to find the length of the longest side. Okay, I hope you are clear with the question. And don't forget to post your answers without fail. And if you find this lesson useful, click on the like button and do share it with a friend who really struggles with the basics of geometry. And for you to work and practice more, I have attached a worksheet in the description. Do check it out, practice. Let's solve one at a time. Thank you.